I realize it's been a while since I've looked in on Groundhogg CRM as a tool for a WordPress-based email system, contact relationship manager, and I thought I'd take a look. I noticed back in August they updated to version 2.5 and said major innovation. I thought that was interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what they've done with Groundhogg 2.5. Hi, my name is William Beam with Suburbia Press. We like to help online entrepreneurs understand and use the technology that powers their business. I am a Groundhogg customer, not a happy one. I started off with them back in 2020. I was very happy to get started. It worked for a while. They released a software update that broke my system kind of right in the middle of a major campaign that I had, and they were unable to fix it. They were also unwilling to refund my money because I was past the 14-day trial period. I thought, well, you hadn't broken the software then. But also, I wanted to take a look at the fact that they promised us an upgrade. And there were some very interesting promises that made with this upgrade, and they haven't delivered. It's been about a year since this promise came out. They were going to go to version 3.0. And the CEO, Adrian Toby, put a blog post up that says, basically, we don't know when we're going to be able to put this out. They don't know how to write the code to get to where they want to go. So they're doing stopgap measures, and that's what Groundhogg 2.5 is. It is a stopgap measure until they can figure out how to write the code that they promised a year ago. What are these major innovations that we're talking about? Well, I want to show you kind of a before and after with Groundhogg, the old version that I had, and then we'll update to the new version with 2.5. And I'm also going to compare it to FluentCRM because I think there's kind of a little bit of envy of FluentCRM on the Groundhogg team's part, and it shows in Groundhogg 2.5. Okay, I'm on my demo site, and let's go down here to plugins. So you can see that I have FluentCRM. It's disabled, and same thing with Groundhogg. So let's go ahead and start off with Groundhogg, and keep in mind, this is an older version. You can see that there's 2.5.4.2 that's available, so I can update, but I want to show you what they had at version 2.2 and so on before we continue. All right, so you can see we have Groundhogg installed. Let me click on that. And let's go over to a couple things. First off, actually, I'm going to go back up here to the dashboard. And there's something that I want you to notice that is not there. If you look up here into this little section, there is nothing that shows a Groundhogg logo or any kind of pull-down menu for quick actions. And one of the features that they're putting in as a major innovation is having that little ever-present quick action pull-down for Groundhogg. So this is definitely something that was new in version 2.5. I wonder where they got the idea from that. We'll see. I also want to show you one other thing, maybe two other things in previous version of Groundhogg, because this kind of goes along with what their claims are for having major innovation. First off is search. So there's a box here for search, and this is the way that it worked in the past. You can see there is a number of queries you can do. It's kind of all over the place, but there are ample ways that you can do search in the previous version of Groundhogg. Another thing they talked about was deleting users. So this is kind of the WordPress style look at your customers. It's integrated with WordPress, and if you've ever worked with WordPress and you understand how posts and pages work, you'll recognize this interface. And then if you go over here and delete somebody, it doesn't give you anything to stop and say, are you sure you want to do that? It just goes ahead and deletes that user. So now we're done. Nobody there. So that's how Groundhogg worked before 2.5. So I'm going to do my upgrades, and then we'll take a look at what they have. So these are the three Groundhogg plugins. You can see I'm going from 2.2 to 2.5. The advanced features will go from 2.1 to 2.2. And then this little helper thing that installs extensions is going to go from 1.4 to 1.5. So not a big deal. So let's go ahead and click these. All right, you can see that the updates are complete. Everything says it's successful. So let's go over to Groundhogg and just confirm. And so there's a number of things I haven't set up because I'm not really using this, but take a look over here. Now you can see this little G, which is, their logo. Let's go to the dashboard. And if everything works right, this should still be there. And there it is. So what do we have with this now? It's basically a quick thing. So you can search by name or by email. You can create a contact. So here's our search. We can create a contact, or you can send a broadcast. So let's click on each of these. You can see if you want to do a quickly create a contact, there's a form for you. If you want to send a broadcast, you have to have already created the email. And then all you're doing now is scheduling it and choosing who gets it. So you can't actually send an email that you just thought of. You have to create it first. So if you need to resend emails to people and broadcast, this is a quick solution. But as far as if you have an idea, say, hey, I want to go create an email and send it off, this really doesn't provide you any value at all. But this is up here now. So that is nice that they've got, a quick way to search for contacts, quick way to create a contact, and a quick way to send a broadcast if you have already written it and saved it. So let's take a look at our installed plugins. And apparently Groundhogg got deactivated. Let's activate Groundhogg. So I need a database upgrade. Let's go ahead and do that. Apparently I have to do 3 database upgrades so far. Now that's major innovation, don't you think? Okay, so I don't have any contacts in here, but notice we don't have the search anymore. So we have our little quick stop thing over here, and we have add new and import. But if you want to search, you have this new button over here called filter contacts. And you can turn filters on or off. Let's go ahead and click this. And you get a drop-down list like this. And you can see a funnel history. You've just got so much data in here that it's very complete, but it's also very confusing. So do you want to search for an email link that was clicked? Do you want to search for a user, has user account, user role, user meta? And there's a lot of information here. I think it's very complete, but also I don't know if this is any better than what they had before, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and create a contact, and we'll just use kind of what they have in there as an example. And that's all we need for right now. We'll go ahead and create the contact. So here we can see there's an edit thing for the user account. This looks exactly like a user panel inside of WordPress. And that's what we've got. So there's a couple of other things. You've got some metadata, marketable, unconfirmed, because we haven't sent and confirmed an email address. That's something that Groundhogg does. We don't have any particular actions that we need to do. If we want to send an email, of course, we've got to write one. If we want to add to a funnel, then we need to have one created, which I don't, since I just loaded this in here. So I just want to go back and take a look at contacts. So we've got a couple of things over here, and this is odd. You see where it says support@suburbialabs.com. I deleted that account. And apparently I misspelled John. So if I want to get rid of this one now, I still click delete, but now it says, are you sure you want to delete John Doe? And yeah, I want to get rid of John Doe. So that's a nice touch that you don't just accidentally click delete and your thing is gone, your contact is gone without wanting to. There's some kind of confirmation. And that's what they're calling major innovation. Let me show you what I use now. All right, we are back on the WordPress dashboard, and you notice the little Groundhogg logo is gone. Over here, you see search contacts. This is coming from FluentCRM. And you can see there's a few other options over here. Besides just a quick search of your contacts, you can go to the contacts page. You can go to your email campaigns, forms. You can go to your settings, segment sequences, automations, and even the documentation. This has been in FluentCRM for quite a long time. So this little idea that Groundhogg 2.5 has major innovation by putting a quick search for 3 things up here is really just copying FluentCRM. I find that hilarious because when I was working with Groundhogg support, they complained about the folks at FluentCRM trying to copy them. And here they are copying exactly what is in FluentCRM. So it's just, like I said, I find it hilarious. But let's go ahead and take a look at contacts. One of the major innovations we were supposed to see is that they weren't using that WordPress view anymore. Well, if you take a look here at FluentCRM, they have an interesting view. And when I click on, let's say this one, we get a nice form layout. What we saw when I clicked on Groundhogg 2.5 was the WordPress editor. Now, they have a video out showing that they have a better pop-up kind of form for editing a customer or a contact. But again, this has always been here in FluentCRM. They're not relying on the WordPress integration and using kind of like the user form inside of WordPress. This has always been here. And you can see I can go and check on emails, form submissions. And of course, there's nothing here because this is just dummy data on a test site. But you get at a glance, you can see what their activity is. This thing for courses is because I have Learn-LMS installed. I did not see any integration like this on Groundhogg when we loaded that up. And you can see if there were any lists or tags. Basically, at a glance, you've got a nice view. And then you've got these things that kind of show you how many emails, the open rate, and the click rate for the subscriber. I find this to be a much better looking user interface, and it works very well. But the other thing that they talked about as a major innovation was in case you wanted to delete somebody. Well, the way you delete somebody in FluentCRM is you're here on your contacts page, and let's say that I've got this test webhook. I don't really need that. So I'm going to click on this and then delete selected. So it's not like you just click on delete and it's suddenly gone. You have to make at least 2 actions. So there's clicking the user you want, and you can do multiple at one time. You don't have to delete and then go back and then delete and go back. So you can delete multiple ones. If I want to get rid of this one too, I could, but that's not what I want. So I'm going to select this test webhook. It brings up this delete button. I'm going to select that, and then it confirms again. So once again, we see something that's existed in FluentCRM for over a year, back when Groundhogg made its groundbreaking promise of what we're going to see in version 3.0. And then I confirm it, and my user's gone. The funny thing is, we saw in Groundhogg that after I did the database update to the new version 2.5, the contact that I deleted miraculously resurrected itself. So imagine if you've got a list of a lot of people, a very large list. You've deleted some of them out of there. You upgrade your software from Groundhogg to 2.5, and it resurrects people that you've already cleaned out of your email list. That's going to cause you a big mess because suddenly you're starting to send emails to people that you may not even realize that you've resurrected when you upgrade the database. And now you're sending potentially spam because those people may have opted out. You may have deleted them for some purpose, and it's just going to cause a lot of problems. I am looking at Groundhogg 2.5, and although it was a very painful thing to have to switch a CRM from one product, Groundhogg, to FluentCRM, I am so glad that I did. There is a much friendlier environment over with the FluentCRM folks. There is no major innovation. There are no groundbreaking features here in Groundhogg. And yes, they did some nice things. They're behind the curve. And that's why they're also behind in sales and installations. If you take a look at Groundhogg on the WordPress repository for the free version, which they do have, and so does FluentCRM, you're going to see a difference of, what, 2,000 to 3,000 for Groundhogg and 10,000 plus for FluentCRM. And keep in mind, FluentCRM just came out a year before this video. Groundhogg's been around since 2018, and they're just not doing well. Last data I saw as far as people uninstalling or removing the Groundhogg plugin was back in May, and they were plunging then. Groundhogg is a dying product. FluentCRM is a thriving and growing product. And I had a good time taking a look at Groundhogg. So congratulations, Adrian. You haven't met your goals. You've copied somebody else, and you call it major innovation. I would not recommend Groundhogg to anyone. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me. I know this was probably one of my snarky videos, but I try to do a bit of a service. I want to show you both the good and the bad. I'm not trying to sell you Groundhogg. In fact, I'm telling you, please don't buy it. It is a bad company. It is a bad product, and they don't have a future because they don't seem to know how to do what they want to do. I do recommend FluentCRM. As a matter of fact, if you decide to buy FluentCRM, look in the description below. I have a 20% off coupon code. Is my last name, and that'll be down there, and I'll put that up on the screen. But basically, not only can you save 20% off of that, it's just a much nicer product. It works very well. It integrates with a lot of things, and I think you'd be happy with that. So if you like this video, please go ahead, click the like button. That lets YouTube know, and they will share it with more folks. Subscribe. I will have more videos out. I've got a whole playlist here on FluentCRM, and they have a new product coming out or upgrade coming out, and I'll show you that. And click the little bell notification icon. You'll be notified the next time I put out a video. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.